There are 5 essential things you need to know before you start your female self-improvement journey that, if you don't know, might mean you will never achieve your goals. I used to spend my time on useless things like playing games, obsessing over other people's online lives, and binging TV series and films. There had even been a time where I was diagnosed with depression. Half a year of my life where I doubted the purpose of my life. But maybe it was this period of my life where I actually started to question how I was spending my time and what my goals were in life. This is the start of my self-improvement journey. I luckily had some guidance from other YouTubers, but there were many gaps, many things I had to figure out on my own because all those good role models were men. I thought about how I could help other young women the best on the start of their self-improvement journey. This is why I asked myself the question, what would I tell myself from a few years ago when starting my journey that would change it completely? So it was only after I learned these 5 basic principles about female self-improvement that I now live a more purposeful life and feel more fulfilled. This first mindset is, according to me, one of the best ways to beat the feeling of overwhelm at the start of the journey. It's one I adopted from Alex Hormozi and is endorsed by many male self-improvement YouTubers like Hamza. The concept of a life of seasons assumes it is more efficient and, according to me, also more natural to work on projects during a longer period of time and to only focus on your priority. In male self-improvement, this could be quite extreme, where every other aspect of life gets diminished to its minimal level of maintenance and progress is only strived for in this one priority. We need a different approach. From my experience, women do better by, indeed, prioritizing one thing, but also not minimizing all the other things to a level of maintenance. Maybe women should focus on keeping the same habits that they have already established. They have a good foundation. For all the non-priorities, when men focus on maintenance, women focus on support. Now, how do I practically apply this rule of seasons? Seasons should be spread over a long period of time to give ourselves enough space to accustom, adjust, and persevere. One of my favorite pieces in Jordan Peterson's book Beyond Older talks about how you should approach being a beginner. It goes even further with wherever you even are in your journey, how good it is to view yourself as a beginner and to have the associated humility. He ties in the fool with the beginner. He writes, "No one unwilling to be a foolish beginner can learn." It was for this reason, among others, that Carl Jung regarded the fool as the archetypal precursor to the figure of the equally archetypal redeemer, the perfected individual. I completely agree that you can only work towards being the perfected individual if you let yourself be the foolish beginner first. So be proud of feeling like a beginner. Besides, the more you begin to know about a topic and the more you're actually experiencing something, the greater you see the entire picture of how much more still lies before you. In no point in your journey, or anyone's journey for that matter, will you ever be done or will it be complete, and an increment in humility pays off in spades. The entire typical female self-improvement niche is filled with the idea of a glow-up. If we ignore how superficial and fixated on looks they are for a minute, the whole idea of a glow-up is fixated on the quick fix. Women in films are portrayed as having become the perfect girl after a year abroad, a summer, or even one day. Not only do we set impossible standards for ourselves, which we will most likely not achieve, and which will make us very insecure, we forget that self-improvement is a process that spans our entire lives. In the process, we belittle our before. Back then, I had pimples, I was ugly, I was fat. We hate the before person. For what did the younger us deserve this? Do we feel like we are worth so much more than we were 2 months ago? This is why we need to cultivate having patience. Patience is an incredible feminine trait that is a great sign of your emotional maturity. It is directly connected with being able to see your goals in the far future. So now, start with the basics and get more detailed as your improvement progresses. Your first health goal might be to go to the gym, but in a few years it might be to get a 150 kilogram leg press. Place the foundations now and be content with reaching the big goals in 5 or even 10 years. There are only a few essential things that actually contribute to our sense of fulfillment. The modern world is designed to distract us. It is harder than any time before to resist the endless temptations. But don't let that truth make you feel as if you are not responsible for your life. If you are willing to accept your complete responsibility, I can give you 3 categories that will guide you: contribution, connection with others, and connection with yourself. I'll show you how these 3 things are filled in for me and what they might mean to you. The first category is your contribution to the community. In modern times, this is often seen as your work or your school. I think this goes much further. For a lot of us traditional young women, we want to contribute by being a mother and nurturing our home, connections with family, friends, and our community. This is the most beautiful contribution a young woman can make to our world. Projects are a very wide concept, but means in my case my YouTube channel. A creative project I hope will one day support us financially. Volunteering is also an incredible way of contributing. Next is your connection with others. This is making time to connect with your partner, spend time with your family and friends, and attending social gatherings. This connection is very wide, however, because this is also the connection you make with a total stranger by having a nice conversation in a coffee shop, at school, on the street. This is also your need to belong to a group, a gardening club, a students' association, a dancing class. The connection with ourselves is the inner work that we do, that I want to share with you on this channel. Most of female self-improvement is obsessed with your material, how you look on the outside, your aesthetics and your self-care. This is in itself not inherently bad, but this is just a small part of the whole. Appearance is also elegance, grace, your posture and your handwriting, to name some. I put our health also under the material, which will support our mind as well. These are things like fitness, cycle syncing, healthy eating, quality sleep. The mind we grow by reading, writing, meditation, loving, learning, spirituality. We are cultivating our emotional maturity and we are finding connection with our higher selves. And here is a hard truth. Anything outside these 3 things doesn't matter. Now, with all the earlier rules in mind, you should pick one thing that you will start to work on today. If you're not sure with what problem to start, I'd recommend starting with the thing you are least proud of or are the most ashamed of. For a lot of women, and also for me, it is either media addiction or eating habits. Write in the comments what the one thing is you choose to focus on this season of your life. I answer all the comments, so share your goals with us. All of these rules won't change your self-improvement journey if you forget this one thing: to actively experience everything. Keep seeing the truth, keep being honest with yourself, and analyze how you feel at every step of the way. One of the best things I did and will never stop doing, I've been doing this for the last 3 years, is writing about my journey. The times I journal are the moments I come to a complete sense of calm. I give myself time to analyze what I've done, analyze how I feel, and actually recognize the things I have accomplished. It was honestly the best thing I did in my self-improvement journey. And no, I don't journal every day. There were seasons I did it once per month, and now I'm in a season I'm eager to do it twice a day. If I'm honest, it's really hard to not hate who you are at the beginning of your journey. You can be realistic about this, but know that you are already a fantastic young woman. If you accept this invitation to your self-improvement journey, you can only become better. I'm only a few years into my self-improvement journey, but it were these 5 principles that have made me go from being depressed to actually feeling purposeful and fulfilled. But there are so many things I haven't accomplished yet. I sense you are ready to go on this journey with me. Watch this video next if you want to belong to this community of young women who are going to change their lives.